Hello class. Today we're going to be talking about Beautiful Brains by David Dobbs and some more things that we want to learn about literature reviews. But before that, our question of the day. I'm always telling you guys what to read, so while I'm stuck here quarantined in my house, I want to know if you had to assign me material to read or watch during quarantine, a movie, a TV show, a book, a story, anything at all, what would that be? Leave an answer in the comments. So to begin, I'm really proud of how you guys have all been handling the Blackboard discussion board aspect of the class so far. I love to see the way that you guys are interacting. You're all catching on to the forwarding, challenging, and questioning aspect really well. And I think that I'm learning enough from the way that you're all talking to each other that I feel more secure about what I need to teach and what's going on in regards to what you need to learn about the material. So that's great. The Blackboard page is working great on my end, and I really appreciate the work that you're all putting in. I want to amplify some of the things that popped up in your Blackboard postings that I want to make sure everybody knows. A lot of you made a really good point about how a key aspect of Abby Heard's emotional eating as a literature review is that it's presenting existing research, and you said that in a lot of different ways. So some of you said it's paraphrasing her sources or restating the conclusions of experts or avoiding her own opinions, and those were all stellar points about what a literature review is doing. So good on you all for picking up on that. A lot of you also picked up on the way that critiquing her sources added credibility to Abby Heard's perspective on this research on emotional eating. And what that tells me about where you are in relation to your understanding of a literature review is that you are kind of adopting the right persona. So you can understand that the purpose of a literature review is not to prove a point, but to discuss the existing research. That's what the body paragraphs of a literature review are often called. They're called the discussion part. So there's introduction, discussion, and conclusion. So that's great. The fact that you're all picking up on what Abby is doing for her paper when she critiques the sources that she uses is great. I also really appreciated the more reflective responses, or the ones that were based on, connecting what we're seeing in the reading to your own journey with eating or your own perspective on eating, especially in relation to our current situation. Definitely keep those coming because it's great to see you engaging with text in that way. One phrase that popped up in a lot of your Blackboard posts and responses was strong conclusion, and a lot of the time we weren't sure whether we wanted to classify Abby Heard's paper as having a strong conclusion or not. And that's great. I think it was really useful for discussion, but what I want to add into the mix is I think we should take a minute to just think about what a strong conclusion of a literature review is. Just like people, essays can be strong in different ways. A bodybuilder and a ballerina use and strengthen different muscles, but they're both really strong in their own fields. And essays are the same way. So a strong conclusion in a persuasive researched essay is going to look really different from a strong conclusion in a literature review. So when you revisit this question in your head of, is this a strong conclusion or not, remember that it's not a matter of, it's not that literature reviews don't want to have a strong conclusion. It's that their conclusion will be strong in a different way than a persuasive paper's conclusion would be. Everyone's got different strengths. Which brings us to David Dobbs and Beautiful Brains. Beautiful Brains is about the development of teenage brains. It's about the recklessness that teenagers are known for and about how that comes from the fact that their brains are in this stage of development, and also how we can interpret the impulses that cause these reckless behaviors as a strength rather than a weakness of the teenage brain. And as I said in my last video, Beautiful Brains is a much more personalized approach to a researched paper than emotional eating is. It's largely inspired by David Dobbs' experiences that he has with his teenage son, and he uses this personal anecdote as a framing device. In your Blackboard post, a lot of you picked up on the fact that Abby Heard's headings helped to guide the reader through the complicated topic by breaking it up and kind of creating a pathway through the research. You're starting to think about how organizational strategies are going to come into the stylistic choices that you make about your literature reviews. So you can choose to organize it like Abby Heard did. You can break your research up into categories, and you can even use headings if you want, if that works for your topic. And for some topics, that's really good. Another way that you can set up the discussion portion of your literature review is as more of a debate. Think about when we read Are Humans Monogamous or Polygamous? That's a great example of a literature review. The sources kind of contradict each other one after the other. You can do that. Sure. You can set up your literature reviews chronologically. And this works especially well when you have sources that are responding to one event or source or phenomenon in a way that changes over time. So you might want to look at the dates of your different sources and see if that would be a good way for you to set it up. Or you can use a personal story as a framing device in the same way that David Dobbs did. This is especially good if your topic is really close to home or if it's important to you for a personal reason. You can use that to show why your topic is important instead of telling it in the beginning. Those are a few options. The next essay that you're going to read is called Fate, Free Will, the Wolf, and the Illusion, and it's another research paper written by a UVM student that was published in the Norton Mix, just like Abby Heard's Emotional Eating was. And when you're reading this next essay, you're going to be looking out for another kind of stylistic choice. So we're talking a lot about the big structural choices that you can make, how you're going to organize it, how personal you're going to get. And for the next assignment, you're going to think about more of the nitty-gritty. So I want you to pay attention to the way that this author uses quotes, the way that he introduces and unpacks them, the way that he incorporates evidence, and the way he brings the evidence together and causes the evidence to interact with each other. So that is all that I have to say for today. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about Beautiful Brains, or about, including personal anecdotes in a literature review in general. Remember to leave a comment below saying what you think I should watch or read during the quarantine. That's it. See ya next time.